you laugh, shows that make you think, music that moves you. It could only be one place. Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
Welcome to The Actor's Choice, where the actors and actresses have a chance to talk about themselves and their careers. Join us now for the next hour as we explore the marvelous industry of acting by actors and actresses from today's exciting show business world. And now, direct from Hollywood, here's your host, Ron Brewington.
Hi everybody, I'm Ron Brewington and welcome to The Actor's Choice. My guest today once wrote a biographical book about how he grew up in Cleveland's foster care system and was emancipated from the system at the age of 17. From there, he was out in the world alone, now living on Cleveland's tough streets. The book later became an award-winning movie in 2002. 22 nominations and 19 wins. That's not bad for your first writing project. From the beginning, his name has become known worldwide. We are very proud and honored to have this person as our guest today. But before we meet him, let's take a look at his movie, Antwone Fisher.
You going home next leave?
Yeah.
Hey, when you going home, pork chop?
When your mama quit tripping and send me my money.
What about you, Fish? When you going home? Fish. Fish.
Where you from, Fisher?
I'm from under a rock.
That would make you a medical miracle, Seaman Fisher. Where'd you spend your childhood?
Nobody wants you.
Nothing.
I hate you.
I understand you like to fight.
It's the only way some people learn. Send me to the brig.
Here's the brig right there. Lock yourself up. You looking for a discharge, Fisher? That's where you're headed.
Where you been?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Running away how you handle your problems?
Or what do I do? Because I don't know what to do.
You need to find your own family.
Why do I have to forgive?
To free yourself so that you can get on with your life.
My mother left me. My father.
I understand.
Nobody's taking anything else away from me no more.
People grow. People move on. You've grown. It's time for you to move on.
I'm still standing. I'm still strong.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for our friends. We also pray for peace in the world and in our lives.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Antwone Fisher.
Hey.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for being here today. What's it like having a movie made with your name on it?
At first it was strange, but now it doesn't feel like it's my name altogether, Antwone Fisher. I wanted to name it after the book I wrote, Finding Fish, but Denzel told me that they were going to name it Antwone Fisher, and my wife said, "You'll understand." I'm a little bit upset, but I was thinking. But it turns out that they were right. It did a lot for me.
Mm-hmm. And then having legendary actor Denzel Washington, not only having a role in the movie, he also directed it.
Yes, and he was a great friend and a great mentor and a great protector along the way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had been around Hollywood for a little while, but you know, I had never gotten to a place where I was so intimately involved in a film that was being made, and because it was about me, of course, I was always pensive about everything. I just wanted that to know that I could live with everything when it was all over. And Denzel gave me great comfort and really made me feel that I was in good hands. He would always say, "I'm not doing it for you, Antwone. I'm doing it for the kid that you were."
Good man. Antwone, as you know, putting out a movie like this, you've got to have a marvelous world premiere. Let's take a look at your premiere.
Okay.
I can recall how it was, you know, my first time around and the lights and, you know, being interviewed and all of that. So I'm happy for them. I hope they enjoy it.
You know, I'm nervous and I You know, I've always been apprehensive because it's such a personal story, but I do believe that it'll help a lot of people, and it's what I have to offer society.
You think it's possible for somebody that had problems not to stay that way?
Your damn mammy didn't even want you.
This is not about them, this is about you.
I think about all the pain that this young man is suffering in his life, and I'm hopeful that he can enjoy a night like this. And I know it can't make up for the things he's been through, but hopefully it help a little bit.
People need to experience this right now. I mean, it's a heartfelt movie, hits you in the heart, and it's a beautiful story about triumph and survival. And people need to know that, especially people in positions like Antwone was in, they need to know that you can go through those things, but you can still come out ahead if you keep your spirit strong.
One of the things that I love about the film too, and not that I think it's a universal story, absolutely, but it's so great to see a young black male who is so sensitive and vulnerable and intelligent and just triumph over all the odds and obstacles placed in his life. It's a positive, uplifting story for a change.
The most important part of that is that it's this person's story. Me walking down the aisle actually doesn't mean a whole lot to me. I could, been down the aisle too many times. But to do it for him, to talk about this film because of him and what he means to me, I'm willing to walk down the aisle.
I thought when I got out the car, I didn't know what to expect. I thought my legs were shaking. It was like the first time I saw the film. And, it's amazing.
Derek is a good guy, and I think, he'll probably wind up being something like Denzel if he gets the right material. A lot of times it's about material and opportunity. So I wish everybody the best who worked on this project.
To work with Denzel and to work with Derek is just, it doesn't really get much better than that.
I think he's more than an actor. He's a humanitarian. And I have a lot of foots to follow.
Denzel was just a great teacher and is going to make wonderful films in the future. I love him so much, and he's been so supportive, and he took a big chance with me, and I'm forever grateful to him.
Hey, go Navy. That's what that's all about.
Yeah.
Yes. What was it like being on the set while this was going on, the filming?
Well, in the beginning, I kind of separated myself from it all because it was really overwhelming in the beginning, so I thought that I would use the same technique I used when I was writing the film to take myself out of it as much as I could personally. That way I could get through the scenes I had to write, or in the case of being on the set, so I would involve myself with the marvel of the DP and the actors and, what they were doing and how professional everyone, even the grips. I was watching the scene being shot one time, and I turned my head. I was talking for maybe about a minute or two, and I turned around, and the grips and everybody had turned everything around. So, and the actors really, it was like a ballet. Professionals.
Yeah.
In Hollywood. Yeah.
In Hollywood, yes, indeed.
Yes.
Indeed. Derek Luke, what was it like when you first met him? Here's the guy that's playing you in this movie.
Right. Well, when I first met Derek, he was working in the candy store on the studio Emporium, and I would go in there, and I would ask him, what is he doing there? Shoplifting? Because, you see him in there, like he never looked like he was doing anything. So he asked me, he said, well, what do you do? I said, I'm a writer, I write movies. And he said, well, what movies are you writing? I said, well, I'm doing a movie right now with Todd Black, and his office is right there, right here on the lot. And so he wanted to read my script, and so I told him I'd bring him a copy. So I brought him a copy, and he read it. And when I saw him again, he was so excited, and he said, wow, I'd like to have a chance to audition for the role of to play you. And I said, well, do you have an agent or anything like that? He said, no. So I told Todd that the guy over in the studio Emporium wanted to audition. And Todd, of course, knew who he was because he goes over there. So Todd arranged for him to have a audition with Denzel. And so so many actors that everybody came in except for Tupac, and the biggest problem, because he was gone, but the biggest problem I think Denzel told me that he had with the actors who came in is that none of them could cry or be so emotional that it looked realistic, you know.
Yeah, you
that
got to cry on demand.
Right.
Yes.
But Derek was able to cry like right away, and when the scene called for it, and it was really looked genuine to me. So wherever he found the ability to do that, Denzel was so impressed by that. He said to me that, well, I can help him with everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So the day he told him, I just happened to be on the lot, and I was at the store at the same time, and Derek and I walked out into the foyer, and I saw Todd Black and Denzel walking down the street toward the Emporium, and I said, well, it's Denzel and Todd, and they walked right up, and Denzel looked at Derek and said, hey, Antwone, and then Derek looked at me and he said, no, this is Antwone right here. He said, no, you're Antwone. And then Derek fell to his knees. He liked to put it on like he was cooler than that, but he was really like, and it was really like I'm glad I was there because it was the beginning of everything for him.
Indeed, indeed. You won an NAACP Image Award. What was that like?
Well, you know, I had, of course, known of the NAACP my whole life. And then, of course, I would watch the ceremonies, you know. And so, actually, winning one, for me, it wasn't like I expected to, but in some way, I felt like the image that I had was a good one. You know, there were some people who don't agree with my film because they felt like my story reflected negatively on black women because some of the women in my film had done negative things, but my story was true. And sometimes I wondered if that would have had an effect on the way the judges may have felt, but it didn't. This is reality, and a lot of people don't like to accept some things the way they are. So I was not surprised, but I was grateful because, you know, it's one thing to be awarded for your work, but then from an organization like the NAACP, of course it meant a lot to me. In many ways, it was my Oscar.
Right, that was your Oscar. That's what the NAACP is all about.
Oh, and that's the way, you know.
Yes. God bless them every year when they do the Image Awards, when they do the Theater Awards. Usually I'm the announcer at the Theater Awards.
Oh.
And I've been doing it for a long time, and it's something that I enjoy working with the NAACP. We laugh, you and I call it the NAACP, but they tell me Ron called it NAACP. I said, okay, well, you're all paying me, so
yeah.
No problem at all. Who are some of the main characters depicted in the movie that you still remember?
That I remember?
That you still remember.
The characters who played the...
Right, some of the characters, some of the ladies that you work with, some of the people in your life. These are people in your life.
You mean the actors or the people? Oh, Joy. Miss Nellum. Viola Davis.
Okay. But I'm talking about the characters, that these are the actual people, not the actors who actually...
Oh, the actual people?
The actual people, yeah.
Well, of course I remember everybody.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember everybody. You know, I have a great memory.
Get back.
That's why I was able to write the movie. Because I think that we all have our lives, right?
Yes.
And, you know, a lot of people have rough beginnings. And I had difficult beginnings. But I never thought that those even painful times were invaluable. I always felt that if your life is a building, every memory and experience is a brick that builds the person that you are.
Yes.
If you get to the age where I am, or even when I was 33 when I wrote the screenplay, if you start taking out the unhappy memories, these bricks that were at the beginning of your life, the whole building will fall down. So you have to keep all those memories, all those experiences, and try to make sense of them. If they bother you, get help.
Right.
So with that. So I always remember, I always think back, take time to reflect on my life.
What made you get into writing?
It was an opportunity. You know, I had been in the Navy 11 years, and I went to the Federal Law Enforcement Academy, became a federal corrections officer. for 3 years, and it didn't suit my personality to be a corrections officer. And I heard that Sony Pictures was hiring security guards. So I went to Sony and they hired me. And so the opportunity, I actually found my family when I was working there. This was the most relaxing environment I had ever been in.
A correctional institution.
And the Navy, you know,
Yes.
and then the homeless teenager before that. So I started looking for my family and I found them. And so I went to meet them and I came back. And my boss and some other people had told some executives about my story. I hadn't been at Sony long enough to acquire any leave, so I had to ask for permission so I wouldn't lose my job when I left to go and meet them. So when I came back, everyone kept saying they thought it would make for a good film, but they would hire a screenwriter. And I said I wanted to write it, but they said, no, you don't have any writing experience. You never went to college, you never went to film school.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, it's my story, and so I'll write it anyway. So I went to Save-Ons and got some legal pads and started writing it. And I met Todd Black, who through a friend and a mutual friend, and he thought I had writing talent, and he gave me an office on the Fox lot, or 20th Century Fox lot, and I wrote 41 drafts
Wow.
of Antwone Fisher. And one day he called me and said that he sold my screenplay and go down to News Corp and pick up a check, and I did.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how I know.
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
You know, and we both writers. I like to write myself. I have a question for one writer to another. When you get writer's block, how do you solve it?
I don't get writer's block.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you know, I take appropriate breaks. And you know, you do have to give yourself a chance to rest.
Yes.
So writing screenplays makes me sleepy, makes me tired. And I remember when I met my wife, she was my girlfriend. She came over to my place, and she would always catch me sleeping. She'd think that I wasn't doing anything. I said, I'm working. And because, you know, it's just like anything. If you go to the gym and you lift weights and you run around and you work out, then you get tired. You're tired. Well, if you're sitting there thinking, you're coming up with storylines that make sense and that are emotional and that it makes you laugh, and if, you know, people read the script, they laugh or they cry. It takes a lot out of you to come up with that.
Yes.
So it makes you emotionally exhausted. So I have to take naps in between, not between scenes, but you know, during the course of a work day, I might need to take an hour.
Take an hour.
Yeah.
I do mine a little bit differently. As I'm typing in, I run to a block. I reach for my wallet, pull my wallet, open it up, look at okay, and put it back, and keep on going.
That helps too. That really helps too.
Everybody got a different style. Everybody got their style.
Yeah, but you have to give yourself a break, a mental break, because if you don't, it's not that you can't come up with the next scene. It's that you're out of energy.
Right.
Out of intellectual power.
Right, the brain,
Yeah.
Get that old sucker removed. What was life for you after the movie?
And for me personally, I've always remained the same person. So I still had the same friends. I had gained friends because I was in a new industry, and on my level in the industry had rose. I was able to do more after the film, but I was a writer even before the film for many years.
Okay.
Yeah, and so personally, it gave me more confidence that I would be able to remain in the business. Yeah, basically that's it. You know, I had a couple of kids, and that takes a lot.
That takes
time.
a lot. Yes, I've had a few of those myself.
Yeah.
I understand that you testified in front of the U.S. Senate Committee about foster care traumas. You were the star witness.
Yes. I was invited to come and speak before the Senate Financial Committee, Congress there. Well, there were some laws that were up to be changed, and they wanted to hear from me what and try to decide what they could do to help kids in foster care, especially those who are aging out of foster care. Some things they could do. So I went to talk to them, and it was kind of, I've had like these times in my life when I've done things that I've seen done on television, and so when I'm there doing it, it almost feel like I'm dreaming, like I'm watching somebody else do it again. You know, being at a premiere or, you know, testifying for Congress, that kind of thing.
Okay. The year's 2006. You came up with another project called ATL. Here's a short clip from that movie.
Okay.
Today, we're going to be talking about choice.
I know what I'll be doing this summer. I'll be getting paid.
You really want to be ghetto? It's all part of the game, young buck.
Man, you ain't nobody's dad.
I'm trying to make it out.
Y'all slackers better figure out what y'all gonna do.
Down in the ATL.
I guess you just gonna fake it till you make it, huh?
Let's slow it down a little bit. Yo, man, you all right?
Never feel comfortable on this side of town. Man, kinda how I feel about our neighborhood.
Thanks for the ride.
Wait, my mama raised me way better than that. Just gonna have to weigh her together. Been saving this for 3 years now.
Been saving for what?
So we can get out of here.
Man, it's John Garnett, the millionaire. He invited me to dinner.
You could have the whiz in the hallway. I'll take the Picasso.
It's all on the line.
You've got talent.
You know about that.
I wish you could see what I see.
What you rolling on, 24s? Man, I need to get myself one of these.
Take a ride with your boy.
Come on.
You been lying about where you been going and who you been with?
You special.
Special, huh?
Believe me, I'm gonna make it, and I won't forget where I come from.
One thing you should learn, it's not always what you know. Sometimes it's who you know.
You wanna work, right?
Okay, we're gonna see. You ain't gotta be a dope boy to have money.
Speed time.
I just want you to recognize the difference between what you feel and what's real.
I guess just cause your head big don't make you smarter, huh?
Then y'all gonna go to jail stealing.
I ain't playing with you, bro.
You just gonna ruin your life for a few dollars?
I believe in you even when you're too stupid to believe in your damn self.
I always get it right when I follow my heart. That way you don't look back with a bunch of regret.
Okay, Antwone, when you had this movie, what was the idea? Where did it come from?
Well, the idea actually came from Dallas Austin. Dallas, you know Dallas Austin. He had also had come up with Drumline. He had approached Will Smith and James Lasseter, you know, at Overbrook, and then James Lasseter called me, and so we went to Warner Brothers, and I think that's where a deal was. And the story was called Jelly Beans in the beginning, but then I came up with the story ultimately, and Tina Chisholm actually wrote the script for ATL. So when you look at the film, you'll see my name. It says story by.
Story by.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because in this industry, you have to use a term called shop around. I know the Miracles did a song like that a long time ago.
Yes.
But would you please explain to our viewers, what is shop around when it comes to a script? What does that mean?
Well, if you write a script, a spec script, you may you need to put it on the market somehow, right? So you have to shop your script. Is what you mean, right? When you're shopping your script, you know generally people have an agent, and then the agent will disseminate your screenplay to producers to try to get a champion for your work.
Okay.
I don't really have an agent. I haven't had an agent for years.
Why is that?
I had an agent tell me that I was a hard sell. It is difficult. It's not difficult because I'm not a good writer, but there's some other things that go that some other realities. And it's not with the studios because the studios hire me.
Yeah.
The studios call my attorney.
Good.
Yeah, and producers will call me or call the attorney. So I haven't ever stopped working, but I just haven't had. I would love to have luck.
Yes.
But I haven't had much luck with representation, that kind of representation. I wish I could find a champion at one of these agencies, but I haven't had that luck.
That's one less expense you got to worry about.
Well, there's a good write-off if you can get it,
From where you sit, what kinds of movies does today's audience want?
Well, I think that when the big tentpole movies, like Wonder Woman and these movies come out, I think they're great for making money, and they're really wonderful movies and really exciting. I like particularly Batman. I go to all of those, and not Superman as much, but Spider-Man. I like that. Yeah. But I'm the kind of writer or person who enjoys human interest stories more than life-affirming films. Films that will teach you something about the human condition, and I like to make people cry and feel things like Nicholas Sparks. I think that's been missing for a long time, and I think you think about my film Antwone Fisher was I wrote it in 1993, but it was made in 2002. But it still comes on television, 15 years later, and I still get letters and emails from people all over the world who talk about how their lives were similar to mine, and what comfort the film gives them, and it also made them understand that they had mental health. They never considered that there was a way to get help for some events that had happened in their lives. So I thought that movies can entertain, they can also help the society. And so there are films like Antwone Fisher that entertains, and it gives people the idea that there's hope, that you can find your way, in my case home, and then that there are people in this world that are giving and will open their hearts to help you. And Wonder Woman doesn't do that. Wonder Woman is a great movie and it's really entertaining, but to be able to walk out the theater and thinking like, tomorrow I can start doing something for my soul and for my life is a good thing too.
Excellent. Yes, indeed. Your next project came in 2009. It was called My Summer Friend. Please tell us about that one.
Well, My Summer Friend. My Summer Friend was a short story, and it's about a guy. Well, my brother has spent 18 years in Lucasville State Penitentiary. My foster brother, but he's my brother, and he would talk to me about how difficult it was to be free. He said that his apartment was too big and it was noisy. Birds bother him because it was a sound he hadn't heard since he was a boy, and it was overwhelming, all the different smells. When he went away, cell phones didn't exist, computers, personal computers, and I think the hot car when he went away was a Seville, Cadillac Seville was really popular. So that was
there's a story about Cadillacs and blacks.
I know, but
yes.
But that was the hot car, because a lot of imports weren't here yet, and they were kind of bland with it. Yeah. But then I had a job where I had did some research at a Jewish convalescent home, and these people were really lonely. When I got there, I remember this woman I would sit and talk to. Her daughter wanted to talk to me, and I gave the woman my phone number so her daughter could talk to me. And she got on the phone with me, and she said, "What are you doing talking to my mother? Why are you going there every day? What are you doing? Who are you?" And I explained what I was doing research for, and I didn't know any Jewish people or anything about Jewish people in the way that I needed to write this film. And so they were really lonely, and after I talked to her, she said, "Well, how is she? How's she doing?" I was thinking, she's fine. Maybe you should go and see her. She probably miss you. And then so she was okay with me talking to her mother, but I thought about my brother and about these people. He's black, and these people are Jewish. Most of these were females, and he's a male, and they have anything in common other than they're human, and that loneliness, that being sequestered, for whatever reasons. It was their age, and in his case, some things he did when he was young, that they had the same effect of the loneliness. And I thought writing that would be, so I made a short story. Michael T. Williamson stars in it.
Yes.
And
Good
I
man.
won. I entered into the Los Angeles Jewish Film Festival and won.
Hey.
Yeah, and where I won the audience award.
Yes.
Yeah, for that. It was 29 minutes long.
It's all right.
Yeah.
29 good minutes.
Yes.
Indeed. And then in 2012, you brought us This Life of Mine, the Leon T. Gard documentary. Roll it, sir.
I wish that when we buy something, we would try to pay for it. If we buy a home, try to pay for it as soon as you can, so to be your home. Don't borrow money on your home unless you have to. Don't buy what you want, buy what you need until you get your home paid for. Whatever you buy, you get it paid for. Then it's yours. Nothing is yours until it's paid for. We run around here and drive these nice cars. Ain't not yours. You just save and rent them. They're not paid for. We move in a nice home. That's not your house. It's not paid for. If you pay for it, then it's yours. That's the attitude that the people have. If I do something for the preacher, I may go to heaven. A lot of the preachers are going to heaven themselves. They're bigger devils than you are. I bought the bank in the 80s. I had retired when I bought the bank.
How do you go from a construction person to a banker, or did you feel it was too much? Was he biting off more than he could chew? Well, I never thought that, because Dad was, I think my father's brilliant.
Depositors that had been with other institutions, Bank of America, Union Bank, they brought their deposits over to support founders.
ABC News came out, I believe it was Sam Donaldson came out, and basically was asking, how many commercial banks are there in the city of Los Angeles that are owned by blacks? There was one, Founders National Bank. And it wouldn't be here if it hadn't been for Mr. Gard's ability, willingness to put forth his capital.
Outstanding. That was a great little documentary that you did on Mr. Gard. By the way, is he still living?
Yes. He'll be 105, I think, March 23rd.
God bless him. God bless him. He did a lot in this town. Yes. Antwone, since you began in the writing business, beside the NAACP Image Award, you also received several other awards, including being selected as a history maker. Please tell us about what that is all about, please.
Well, I was surprised. I didn't realize I was making history, but I guess we all are, right? And so I was honored, and I was interviewed, and this interview is supposed to last forever, and for other people to come and listen to these people who they felt have made some contribution to our history, and I was honored to have been considered, and it was really actually emotional for me.
Yes, it is.
Because, when I was a kid, I was told I would never amount to anything. And then, yeah. But I was 7 when they said that, so, you got to give me a chance, get up on my feet,
By the way, as a history maker, let me shake your hand, sir.
All right.
Because I'm a history maker myself, and so is my twin brother.
Oh, wow.
We're the only two set of twins in the history makers.
Wow.
Like you say, when you do something for people, they honor you and things like that.
Yes.
Another honor that you got because you was in the Navy for how many years?
11 years.
11 years. I understand you were E5 when you left the Navy?
Yes.
Okay, I understand that you were promoted to an honorary chief petty officer, E7?
Yes.
Again, another. Thank you, brother. We got a lot in common. Yeah.
Well, I was one rank below you now, right?
Indeed.
But I'm honorary thing.
Indeed. Does writing give you immortality?
It does. That's one of my favorite things that I've said,
Yes.
who would come to Earth and reach an age where you should have developed some kind of philosophy, some history, and you should not spend whatever time you have here and leave 10 years after that. No one even speaks your name, and no one has anything to learn from anything that you experience. So you have to write so people can read and learn from your experiences. And you don't have to be some great general or something like that. I was told when I wrote my memoir that who was I to write a memoir?
Yes.
That was for generals and presidents and people who had accomplished things in life. Well, I didn't know if I had accomplished those kinds of things, in like a war theater, like MacArthur or something like that. But from where I was born in prison to having lunch with the president in his apartment at the White House, I thought, like, wow, that's pretty good. But there was a lot of good stuff along that way, and I'm still on the journey,
A final quick question. How do you, Antwone Fisher, want to be remembered?
As a person who made it because I used hope as a fuel. I made it that way. I believed when there was not very much evidence of anything that could make my dreams possible. Yeah.
Well, we want to thank you very much, sir, for stopping by today.
Oh, yeah.
Come again, and we want to have you back again.
Oh, yeah.
And we want to thank you for being with our guest today, and we'll see you next time.